Hi, I'm Sterling Watts with dailyunconstitutional.com. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about constitutional activism. Constitutional activism should be expected here in the USA. My discussion is going to focus around a recent change of Missouri law, because I'm a Missouri resident. There was a recent reformation of Missouri law, which was the result of some effective constitutional activism. But in a way, it could have been a step backwards, and I'm going to get into that at the end. And I'll give you a link to the post at the bottom of this article. But again, it's worth watching the video through before you start contemplating the article. On October 24th, almost a month ago, in St. Louis, about 40 legally armed demonstrators rejoiced over this new firearms reform by peacefully assembling and exercising their right to be openly armed in downtown St. Louis. Now, apparently the mayor of St. Louis and a variety of other sheeple expressing opposing views were shocked that people would actually openly exercise their constitutionally protected rights simply because they can. Mayor Francis Slayer is the mayor of St. Louis, and he was quoted by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch at a news conference when he said, "This is not Deadwood, South Dakota in the 1870s. In Deadwood there was no law, but in Missouri it is the law," referring to the legal ability to openly carry guns in public. "I don't know what's worse," he went on, and he said that the law is confusing to police. What's confusing? What am I missing? The law is confusing to police. Where's the confusion if a citizen is openly armed and not posing a threat to anyone? Then leave him or her be. On the other hand, if the person's acting in a threatening manner, then and appears to be in violation of some law, then some action needs to be taken against the person, whether they're armed or not. And when was the last time a violent criminal was seen openly carrying a firearm? From the criminal standpoint, carrying open would not be in the best interest of criminal intention, would it? So I think it's a very easy to understand policy for the police, and it's clearly in conformance with the new law and with basic American constitutional rights. What am I missing? Maybe they've all been watching too much TV. But there is one fact that I overlooked, and that is that police have grown accustomed to hassling people who open carry. And the prohibition of open carry was the law that they were accustomed to, and now they can't do it. So a lot of them are upset about not being any longer permitted to do so. That's their only point of confusion. Well, the fact is, this is St. Louis in 2014, not Deadwood, South Dakota in the 1870s. And it is rightfully the law in Missouri. And it is rightfully the law nationwide. It's a law specifically defined by the provisions of the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution. And in addition, there's a 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment assures us that no state has authority to impose any law contrary to any provision defined in the U.S. Constitution. That makes state laws in violation of the right to keep and bear arms to be invalid. Why was there no law against open carrying in Deadwood, South Dakota in 1870? Well, back then, like today, it was because there was a Second Amendment. I don't know the present law in Deadwood, but if there's any law there today that would pretend to prohibit people from open carrying, Well, that law will be just as invalid today as the law presently is valid in St. Louis for open carrying. The Second and the 10th Amendments apply universally, and they apply for all time. And as far as the mayor's shock at the people openly demonstrating their right to openly carry, should it be shocking that citizens that have been denied the ability to exercise their naturally constitutionally guaranteed rights without risk of being locked up for that action should now be taking measures to openly assert their rights? If we don't openly exercise our rights and exercise them now, then we'll be walked on. And as soon as we allow our rights to be walked on, then we've given them up to an unjust authority. More shocking to me than peaceful people carrying guns in public is opposition to the open exercise of a constitutional right. Of course, those who oppose exercising constitutional rights also have every right to do that. We all have a right to remain ignorant, and we have a right to practice ignorance. The truth is that the trending lack in truth of education on the subject of American history has resulted in widespread ignorance of the real basis of our founding documents and of what they mean to us in real life practice. On the other hand, with no knowledge of the political climate under which the American colonists revolted against the tyrannical authority of King George, and with no understanding or knowledge of the motivations of the intentions of the Founding Fathers, we couldn't reasonably expect any intelligent responses. That's why education has been kept down, education about the history of the United States. Of course, the mayor also referred to the peaceful demonstration as akin to something, quote, out of a bad Western. And perhaps he's right, because a Western without an exaggerated, overly dramatic killing scene would be a bad Western. It was a very peaceful demonstration. So it's time for America to awaken and exercise its rights. Each and every one of us has to wake up and understand that the Bill of Rights was an enumeration of rights. The granting of natural rights comes from God Himself, not from any document, not from any human being. That's exactly why the Bill of Rights is referred to as an enumeration of rights. It's a listing of self-existent and therefore inalienable rights. They cannot be removed from you by nature of the fact that they are absolute. Now, if you happen to be an atheist and you disagree with the word God in the previous words I just used, then I'll state it another way that it'll make just as much sense, and I doubt that you'll disagree with me. You are a self-governed, independent being. No other human being possesses or has been granted any valid authority to control your actions or your life. And as soon as you hand over the keys to your own self-operation to someone else or to something else, by default, you've given up that natural sovereignty. So I think kudos are due to the demonstrators in St. Louis, and the time has come for us all, I'm guilty as well, to more openly exercise and practice our constitutional rights, or we will lose their recognition. So let's get to it. Thanks for listening. I will talk to you in the next video.